To get up for this one, they can read Charles Oakley's remarks about, we're going to come and roughhouse them tonight.
And the officials, Bill Saar, Lee Jones, and Bill Oakes. The Nets controlling the tip. And away from the ball, a foul being called on Gerald Wilkins, who does not like the call. And he's having words with Drazen Petrovic right at the start. I mentioned moments ago that there are some bad feelings between these two clubs. First of all, the Nets here at the Garden have lost 13 in a row. The Nets' last win here was March 13th, 1987. The Knicks won the first 3 meetings of the season this year and then lost in that 15-point defeat at the Meadowlands. Bowie rebounded by Oakley.
Got to make Charles feel good. Back to Gerald Wilkins, Marv. His job tonight is defense more than offense. He's drawing the short straw with Petrovic.
Jackson. Bowie on a box out, got position, but it was last touched by the Knicks. Last night in Hartford, a terrific effort by the Nets. They were trailing the Celtics by as many as 19 in the third quarter. Celtics held to 1 field goal over the final 2 minutes. Petrovic getting right to it, and the Nets lead 2-0.
Well, what impressed Bill Fitch so much about that game was that it was at the end of a 5-game road trip, and it was a win for a change.
Bowie on the rebound and unleashes to Derrick Coleman. The Nets have won 3 out of 4 against the Boston Celtics. Chris Morris, who played well last night, backing on McDaniel. Rebounded by Ewing. Jackson and Wilkins opening up the guards. McDaniel with Ewing and Oakley up front. Xavier feeling around for Morris, and the foul is called. The basket won't count. Of course, Xavier is accustomed to having the basket not count. The last time he shot here at the Garden, different circumstance, other end of the court. But in this case, he drew the foul.
Interesting how that make that he made in a good shooting game brought a lot of attention to the mediocre year he's been having. It's ironic after a solid game he had against the Lakers.
Bowie called for the foul, and Xavier had a good one against the Lakers. 8 out of 12, 18 points on Tuesday. Last touch by the Nets.
Of all the games that these two teams have played, certainly this one has much more feeling to it, much more drama. Something like, are the Nets really that good now?
All right, here's the pitch down court for Blaylock. So Mookie Blaylock, who had an 18-point, 10-assist game last night against the Celtics, has given his club a 4-0 lead.
You know, when you think about it, Marv, the Nets have been struggling for respect all these years, and I think they're at the peak now of all their time in the NBA of really being a well-thought-of, feared team.
You mean in recent years?
Yes. Not going back to the ABA show.
Well, how about the Larry Brown era? Pretty good ball club. You want to edit that out of the tape?
No, but I think people in general would think of them as a poor team. But people like Derrick Coleman, who showed that move just now, changed that opinion.
Nets with a 6-0 lead. The Nets have been more successful this season than in the past 5 years. And Bowie fires to Blaylock. There's Morris. Make it 8-0 Nets, and they are charged up. Pat Riley looking for a timeout, wants a 20. So the Nets come out on fire with 3 minutes gone by in the first.
The Nets, through the poor scheduling situation in that they play more than any other team in the league, 26 back-to-back nights of games. And they are doing poorly in that department. But 26 times they have to go back-to-back. And tonight is one of them, and they're off to a very good start. A nice save by Blaylock, and then Morris coming in with that slam dunk. That's going to get them, this quick start, a dose of energy that they might not have ordinarily. Like, we can do it, let's keep rolling like we did in the second half last night against Boston when they recovered from a 19-point deficit against the Boston Celtics. That was in the third quarter, that 19-point deficit.
And prior to the win last night, they had gone 0 for 4 on the West Coast. McDaniel, 8-0 Nets. He stepped out of bounds. Derrick Coleman stepped out. So the Knicks get a break.
Derrick pointed to Chris Morris after that call and said, I had you in mind. He kind of gave him that look. You were going to get the ball. Morris is probably thinking, I wonder when.
Wilkins went right at Bowie. Wilkins gets to it and lost to Blaylock. Well, he played 3.5 minutes, and the Knicks yet to score. Coleman, isolated against Oakley, goes to the outside shot. The Knicks 0 for their first 7 from the field. Jackson, yes, and it counts. Jackson will go to the line.
Well, that's what captains should do. Break the ice, lift the team when they need it. Mark Jackson did it with one of his characteristic penetrating moves despite the presence of much taller people.
It's the Nets 8 and the Knicks 3. Well, John, I'm looking to my right under the Nets basket. Looking as a familiar face. Can it be Harry Gallatin sitting first row? Harry the horse.
That's right.
And of course, it's Dick McGuire night. Harry is one-time teammate. On hand among several former Knicks. There will be halftime ceremonies as Knicks number 15 will be retired. It's such a strange feeling to see a familiar face in years gone by. Morris hitting on a wild shot, and the Nets now lead it by the score of 10-3.
We'll have the meter on at halftime, Marv, when you're chairing the ceremonies, and seeing how many people remember Harry the Horse. We'll be measuring the applause.
Wilkins has an open shot. Yes. So the Nets now lead by the score of 10-5. That's a travel on Petrovic. And I'm looking for Kenny Sears and there's Harry. Harry the Horse Gallatin. One of the outstanding Knicks of the 50s. Where's Ron Sobieschek? And the offensive foul is called. It's on Oakley.
Now on that mention, Marv, I can imagine people listening coming up with their own memories of where's this guy or that guy. There's so many in the Knick lore.
The Nets with a 10-5 lead. 5 minutes gone by. Petrovic forced into a difficult shot by Wilkins. Wilkins backing Petrovic and hitting.
Boy, Petrovic gave Gerald all he wanted.
It's the Nets 10 and the Knicks 7. Bowie getting inside. Bowie on the tip. Bowie again. And the Knicks have a 5-on-2. Jackson for Oakley. The Knicks within 1. Bowie getting down. Found Coleman behind the back, and Derrick Coleman will go to the line.
Pretty fancy passing by Big Sam.
Ewing called for the foul. The Knicks call for time.
Drink and know when to say when. A reminder from Budweiser. Well, Gerald Wilkins moments ago took Petrovic down low, then came out like a true forward. Position he often plays as he does now, and he just dribbles Petrovic in, and Petrovic establishes no defensive position on him, and Gerald gets an easy 2.
Well, after the Knicks open up 0 for 7 from the field, they have hit on their last 4, and they are in the midst of a 9-2 run. The Nets have gone the other way. They connected only 1 of the last 6 following the good start. Derrick Coleman shooting 77% from the foul line in his second year out of Syracuse. Rookie of the year last season. Had a number of injury problems, particularly bothered by severe back problems.
That has cost him 13 games this season.
And it will be New Jersey ball. 6:04 remaining in this first quarter. The Nets 11 and the Knicks 9.
Knicks a rested team, having not played for the last 3 days. The Nets come in after a busy 24 hours that included the Boston Celtics last night.
Difficult to figure how that works. Blaylock on a nice backdoor pass from Bowie.
So far, it's not working for the Knicks. The Nets look sharper.
Sometimes too much rest can lead to a sluggish start. Foul called on Bowie. So that is 2 on Sam Bowie. I mentioned the Nets 0-4 on the recent West Coast trip, losing to the Lakers, the Jazz, the Sonics, and the Warriors. The Nets are 2-11 on the road against the West. The only 2 wins, Dallas and Minnesota. Consider that part of the Western journey. McDaniel rejected and then stripped.
He had 3 nets on him and he was still looking to shoot.
Morris with a perfect delivery. What timing in landing that pass in the hands of, I should say, Blaylock to Morris. Beautiful pass from Blaylock. Nets lead 15-9.
Stay down, stay down.
Ewing fouled by Bowie. That's a quick 3 on Sam Bowie, and Bill Fitch checking the bench and will insert Chris Dudley, who had a terrific game against the Knicks the last time they met in New Jersey. Dudley out-rebounded Patrick Ewing 18-6 back on the 1st of March.
Well, he comes in now having to do something, as Sam, who looked much improved on defense on Ewing, has to lead. I was impressed with the quickness Sam Bowie showed, moving his feet, staying with Ewing. The last time they were here in the Garden, I can recall Sam playing very softly, but he looked like he was really up, and now we probably won't see him until the second half.
Just under 5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. The Nets 15 and the Knicks 11. Wilkins has done a good job on Petrovic.
Nets are letting Coleman go to work on his own as they give the entire right side of the basket to him. Charles Oakley is very unhappy about that call against him.
Charles is also fortunate that the official Lee Jones did not see him toss the ball into the crowd responding to the call. And here comes Anthony Mason. And now Charles Oakley being ushered aside by Xavier McDaniel. Very upset about that call. That's a second foul. So Mason, a one-time New Jersey Net, has checked in, and he will match up with Derrick Coleman. And Coleman looking to go right at him. And through the foul.
Pretty boring offense for the 4 other Nets players, with Coleman going one-on-one, taking all the time he needs, but he is so talented, he generally wins those battles of one-on-one. Mason, of course, is very anxious to have people forget the last meeting with the Nets. He had 1 rebound in 28 minutes. He, like Charles Oakley, spoke big about this game.
The Knicks and the Nets could meet in the first round of the playoffs. If the Knicks win the Atlantic Division, they would be second seed in the Eastern Conference. The Nets would have to finish 7th then in the conference to go up against the Knicks.
That would bring a whole new relationship to the matchups between these 2 geographically close teams.
Not quite, but I think it'll be good for the Net franchise. Ewing on the rebound. I know the Nets felt good about the fact that usually when the Knicks play at the Meadowlands, they win the crowd over, but that was not the case last time. They had a true home crowd when they beat the Knicks by 15. Jackson firing it back out. And that is a backcourt violation.
Ewing ran with Petrovic well. He had to get his hands on the ball because Petrovic could have turned it into a layup otherwise.
3:35 remaining. First quarter, Nets 17 and the Knicks 11 on Dick McGuire night at Madison Square Garden. Ceremonies coming up at halftime, and we will have it for you.
Both these teams respect Dick McGuire. We will see a lot of good passing tonight.
Derrick Coleman has 7 points, and the Nets now lead 19-11. The Nets have turned it to a 9-2 run. And away from the ball, the foul is called on New Jersey. It's on Dudley, his first. A new backcourt being exhibited by the Knicks. John Starks, Greg Anthony check in, replacing Gerald, Wilkins, and Mark Jackson. Patrick Ewing will shoot a couple. The Nets are over the limit.
Starks is one Knicks player who doesn't have totally miserable memories of the last meeting against New Jersey. He shot the ball well. 7 out of 10, 15 points. In the prior one, Marv, here in New York, he had 27 points against the Nets in that win the Knicks enjoyed.
Nets 19, Knicks 13. Blaylock being guarded by Anthony. Now Ewing jumping out.
Ewing can take more chances than usual in leaving his man, but Blaylock shows the variety this team has on offense with that outside shot. It just isn't Petrovic who can hit from the outside.
Mookie Blaylock turning it after going through a shooting slump. Offensive foul has been called. So the Nets will take over, but first a timeout taken.
A lot of women find my looks intimidating. Do you?
Gallatin, 9 years a player, 2 years a coach with the Knicks. Harry, this has got to be a very special night for the men of your era, an era that in the minds of many current and new basketball fans, little is known about.
Well, that's true, and we're honoring Dick McGuire tonight, and I should be honoring him because I was the benefactor of all those passes and everything that Dick made. And believe me, he's one of the greatest playmakers in the game.
Did you joke that he should get half your paycheck, but not really?
Well, I did say that, but I don't think that I would have given it to him. But believe me, he made it a pleasure to play.
Dick is a man of so few words. It's going to be up to, it seems, everybody else to convince this crowd tonight that he is thrilled. I mean, in a pregame interview, we almost couldn't get him to say what he felt.
Well, Dick actually is a man of very few words. But I always thought that Dick let his actions speak for him. And believe me, I put him in the same class with Bob Cousy and all the great playmakers of all time.
Harry, thanks very much for the visit. We'll see you again at halftime. By the way, Marv, Harry is now the golf coach at SIU Edwardsville, so life is very well for him.
All right, Al. Harry the Horse Gallatin, very popular player with the New York Knicks throughout the 50s. His work ethic so appreciated. A technical foul has been called on John Starks, who just a moment ago was called for his second foul and argued the call and now hit with the tee. So Derrick Coleman, who has certainly improved his free throw shooting, hitting the tee, and the Nets extend to a 24-13 lead with 2:25 remaining in this first quarter.
The game may have changed since Harry Gallatin played, Marv, but one thing that he knows is about boxing out, and that hasn't changed, the need of that. He'd have a lot to say if he went into an NBA practice on that subject.
And his name has come up frequently in the last couple of years. Here's Ewing with a strong drop step move, but not able to hit. Rebounded by Dudley, with people like Dennis Rodman and Charles Barkley either leading the NBA in rebounding or among the leaders, in that they don't have the height of previous rebounding leaders. The name of Harry Gallatin has been used as an example. Ewing with the rejection. How tall do you think Gallatin is?
He was always listed as 6'6", but I feel he's more like 6'5".
Oh, nice move by John Starks off the lead from Anthony Mason. And the Nets now lead it by the score of 24-15. Yes, Harry's height was a bit of a stretch, and as you said, he did it with the box out. And 1 year led the NBA in rebounding. Beautiful shot by Blaylock as he was pushed. Starks with the foul. That's 3 on Starks.
Blaylock rather showing his toughness. deceiving the Knicks guards and big man as he went in for that layup. Nobody could stop him.
John Starks will remain on the court despite the 3 fouls. Kiki Vandeweghe has replaced Xavier McDaniel. Apparently Starks has 2 fouls. They changed what appeared to be the first foul called against him. Patrick Ewing is now 0 for 4. The Nets 26. The Knicks 15. 1 minute left in the first. Morris lost it.
Patrick Ewing on defense can gamble, as I mentioned before, because Dudley's not an offensive threat at all.
Starks was wide open, but Anthony did not see him right away. He passed on the open jump to go to the drive. 35 seconds left in this first quarter. Petrovic rejected by Ewing. 3 blocks for Patrick Ewing.
Patrick Ewing again can feel free to leave Dudley open. Chances are Nets are not going to go to Dudley, so Patrick can gamble like crazy.
12 on the 24. It'll be Knick ball. Got a sloppy first quarter at both ends. Half minute remaining in the first. Vandeweghe starts with the step and tipped home by Ewing. That's his first field goal. The Nets 26, the Knicks 17. We are down to 5 seconds remaining in the quarter. Blaylock. After 1, the New Jersey Nets leading the New York Knicks by the score of 26-17.
Had on the earlier Knick teams?
Oh, sure. Dick was a scout when I got here, became my coach. He was assistant coach with me when I coached here, and then been a friend ever since I've been in New York, so I've known him for a long time.
What is it about Dick that lent himself to being so modest?
Well, I don't know, but I think he's a great person. I mean, he knows a lot about basketball, and I think the Knicks have been very fortunate to keep him in the organization and have him a part of the Knicks for so long.
All right, now a big part of the fabric of Knicks history, now trying to create history with New Jersey. Where are you sitting as you root in this game?
Well, I mean, I got to root for the Nets tonight, but basically I'm a Knicks fan. Patrick is my favorite Knicks player because I think he's a great one.
All right, thanks, Willis. Thanks very much.
Okay.
Let's go back to you, Mark.
All right, Al, Willis Reed, now the Senior Vice President of Basketball Operations for the New Jersey Nets. Mason through the foul, second quarter underway, and the Nets lead the Knicks by the score of 26-17. Tate George has come on for the first time. The Knicks stay with Anthony and Starks in the backcourt. Mason, Vandeweghe, and Ewing up front. Tate George replacing Mookie Blaylock, so it's George and Petrovic in the backcourt with Coleman, Morris, and Dudley on the front line.
Had that drive by Greg Anthony gone in the basket, that would have been one of his more impressive drives in his rookie year. That was gorgeous, but he's back to having that problem with finishing plays. He'll make the great drive, but he can't seem to get it in the hole.
The Knicks shot only 6 of 20 from the field in the first quarter, and the Nets at the 50% mark. Tate George in his second year from UConn. Drazen Petrovic has been covered well to this point, first by Wilkins, now by Starks. Dudley, 5 on the 24. Petrovic for 3. He was 3 for 3 last night from downtown. He's number 2 in the NBA in that department. Anthony, who felt he was fouled, able to hit with a strong drive. The Nets now lead 29-21.
Anthony just did a Bush League thing, and that ball was on the floor, and he ran back. He kicked it off the court over to the side. I'm surprised he didn't get hit with a delay of game warning at least.
Petrovic got it deflected by Mason. Well, I mentioned Drazen Petrovic, the #2 man in the NBA in three-point field goal shooting.
We look at our Payne Weber leaders. We see Dana Barros, an unlikely man to be at the top of any category in the NBA. He leads in that department.
Wait a moment.
Quiet player.
Well, you don't see him on a regular basis. Derrick Coleman with 10. John with a major dumping on Dana Barros.
It's the truth, Mark. Everyone listening agrees with me except Dana Barros' family.
Whoa, and he's from this area, too.
Unlikely that he would be on the top of one of the league leaders.
I'm happy for him. That's by, I'm sure you are. That's by 10. Now, Ewing able to cut it down to 8. The fact that you're happy for him will not matter because the damage has been done. I mean,
the fact that you took that position also doesn't matter.
Oh, nice pass. George is stopped. Dudley on the foul.
Knicks not looking sharp at all. They're slow to react to situations here in the first half.
Nets 33 and the Knicks 23. Starks on the penetration. John Starks has been able to penetrate on a number of occasions, but has not been able to finish it off, and usually he is a good finisher.
Just have the feeling the Knicks have the cobwebs of 3 days off on them, and they've just got to keep working harder.
Charles Oakley getting set to make his return. 3 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Petrovic working hard, spinning, and able to go glass just to beat the 24-second buzzer. The Nets lead it by 12. 7 points for Petrovic. Coleman, the high man for the Nets, with 10. Ewing, and that won't count. It's a travel. Oakley and Wilkins return, replacing Ewing and Stark. So Oakley will go to center, matching up with Dudley. Mason got a piece of it. And Petrovic fouled by Wilkins. That's his second.
The thing about Petrovic is he's 6'5". He's a big guy, and he's been handling the ball better and better, and that combined with his sensational outside shooting has made him a real tough NBA player. He's at the high level of shooting guards in this league.
He is averaging 20 per game. He's shooting 52%. In his third NBA season from Yugoslavia. Certainly one of the best standstill shooters in the league. Originally a third-round draft pick of Portland that was back in 1986. Came to the Nets last January as part of that 3-team trade that saw the Nets send Cadillac Anderson to Denver and also get Terry Mills. It's a pretty good trade for the Nets.
And the price for Petrovic was a #1 pick in one of the next 3 drafts.
Wilkins, after Mason knocked it away. Vandeweghe, yes. Oh, we have something brewing here. Anthony Mason involved along with Chris Morris.
Mason wisely walks away.
Well, we discussed this earlier. There are some bad feelings between several Knicks and Nets. And as you mentioned, in particular, Mason and Oakley and Coleman and Morris.
And Mason carrying the "we were embarrassed" phrase into this game from the last game. Perhaps some of the Nets read the paper today and didn't enjoy the tough talking from the Knicks. Gerald Wilkins piling his way inside. Mason battling for position. Morris behind him. And then Morris swinging that arm around to get rid of Mason. That started things.
The crowd reacted because they saw it up on the Garden Vision screen. Double technicals called on Morris and Mason. Terry Mills has come on for the first time. He's backing Mason. Gets it out to George. Rebound, Dudley. So Chris Dudley getting inside.
Well, he got inside Oakley all right.
And Pat Riley is very upset. The Knicks are down by 14 with 7:35 to go in the second quarter. And there is Dick McGuire. The Knicks at halftime will retire Dick's number 15 and ceremonies that will take place. That's coming up at halftime. Dick, Director of Scouting Services for the New York Knicks, Patrick Ewing. And the Nets now lead 39-27. Dick McGuire led the Knicks in assists 7 consecutive years from 1949 through 1956. As a player, coach, and scout, Dick in his 35th season with the Knicks. Vandeweghe off the drive is fouled. So Kiki will go to the line.
Good pushing of the ball by the Knicks up court. Pat Riley's very disappointed, undoubtedly, in his team's defensive effort. One of the ways to get them to loosen up is to run. And they did it on that play. Well, your job, of course, at halftime, I know you'll be emceeing the ceremonies, will be to quietly remind Dick to keep his responses down to the minimum, because the second half,
just, you know, once he gets that microphone, you just can't stop him.
Dick must be having a horrible day today, because he knows he's got a microphone waiting for him at halftime.
How about a horrible week? I talked with his wife Terry before, and I said, what has it been like? He's such a shy man. And she said he has not received much sleep time recently, in contrast to brother Al, who doesn't stop talking. The Nets lead at 39-28. 6:45 remaining. First half. Here's Tate George. He's been off. Oakley leading a 3-on-1. Wilkins fouled by Petrovic. That's the second called on Petrovic.
Nice block by Petrovic as well, though. You know, Charles ideally would have stopped at the foul line, like he's been part of many of those in practice sessions, but Charles kept rolling on, although he did give the ball up nicely to Gerald, who was flying.
That's the 5th meeting of the season between the Knicks and the Nets. Knicks winning 3 out of 4. However, in their last get-together at the Meadowlands, the Nets won convincingly by that score of 90-75. The Nets dominating off the boards, 59-29. The Nets shot only 38% of that game, but they took 26 more shots. It was a wipeout. Nets lead by 10. It has not been a good first half for the Knicks. Petrovic off the fake. Rebounded by Oakley. Wilkins ahead of the field. Nice pass. Anthony right on target. Nets lead at 39-31. And Bill Fitch with some words for Tate George. George thought that Fitch wanted a timeout. Mills played by Ewing. And a loose ball foul. It's against the Knicks. Oakley called for his 3rd.
Nets wisely going to the boards. That's where they enjoyed a party last time when they had 31 offensive rebounds. Charles doing a little pushing. Unhappy again with that call.
And he'll sit down after collecting his 3rd. Mookie Blaylock has returned. Blaylock and George in the backcourt. Mills up front with Morris and Dudley. Petrovic sitting down with 9 points. Mills now backing on McDaniel, who just checked in. It counts, and the foul. Terry Mills using his bulk. 6'10", 230 pounds.
Mills becoming a very important contributor to the Nets' success, moving very well, getting the same kind of treatment as Derrick Coleman gets, getting that ball on the right side, and then they clear out for him. He can put the ball on the floor.
Anthony was called for the foul, trying to help out. The Nets lead it by 10. Anthony, yes. Rick Anthony hits a second field goal. Nets 41, and the Knicks 33. 5:15 remaining in the first half. Blaylock.
Kept dribbling in and out of trouble, and then finally went to the jump shot very smoothly.
Mookie Blaylock has certainly relocated the touch. That's by 10. There's George. Well, Tate George with his first bucket. Nets lead at 45-33.
Blaylock moves that team fast.
Anthony, that was 2-point range.
He's not a little out into the pattern of playmaker with Xavier standing there.
A little out of hand. I know Pat Riley made the point earlier in the week regarding both Starks and Anthony. Blaylock hits again. That the first thought is to look to set up the shot and also get involved defensively. You don't want your point guard looking for the shot first, and that's what Anthony has been doing. We'll be right back. Ramsey, Whitey Bell, we'll get back to that in just a moment.
One of my pals, George Blaney, who's been coach of Holy Cross for many, many years.
Cal Ramsey, who had a brief tenure with the New York Knicks. Nice second effort by Xavier McDaniel. Cal also played for the Syracuse Nationals for a brief period. What Masaka? You face him, John?
No, Marv, I didn't.
Played 47-48 season. I'm looking at the handy Nick press guide out of the University of Utah. Went 5'7", 150 pounds. Johnny Egan, who had some excellent years with the Detroit Pistons.
Whitey Bell, Frank Selvey, who once scored 100 points in a game for Furman.
And went on to have some big years with the St. Louis Hawks, Minneapolis Lakers.
He was a jump shooter. 100 points. I'll never forget reading the paper that day as I was headed for the schoolyard, Marv, hoping for someday scoring 20 in a game.
I can recall Selvey coming out of college, and there was doubt about him, similar to, remember, Bevo Francis in Rio Grande?
116 points.
He ended up touring with the Globetrotters, but they had doubts about Selvey because he hadn't done it under better competition, but he turned out to be a standout NBA player.
116 points in one game for Bevo.
The Knicks are down 48-35 with 3:20 remaining in this first half. It's been a poor first half for the Knicks. Here's Mills with the high arcing jump. Good box out by Ewing on Dudley. Jackson launching too far for Wilkins.
Down first half for Mark Jackson. The problems began with Blaylock, who was getting around him and moving very freely. Now he's back in the lineup, and Mark, wants to put something good together, and he just hasn't been able to, like most of his teammates.
John, I promise this is the last thing I will say about Wat Masaka. Has always been a curiosity to me. Pretty move by Derrick Coleman, and the Nets now lead it by 15. I didn't realize he was the first ever college draft choice in Knicks history back in 47. Why would they take a guy 5'7", 150? We knew then there were problems with Knicks draft picks. That was early. Xavier McDaniel, and the Nets now lead at 50-37. Watt went on to play 3 games for the Knicks in 47-48.
It's a great one for a quiz.
A fine selection. Dick McGuire heading back behind us, joining other notables. Dick looks just thrilled. You see him like he's going to an execution. This is going to be a very difficult halftime for Dick. You look at his face, it does not seem like a happy moment is upcoming. Wilkins stripped. Wilkins on the recovery and then goes to the hook. Rebounded by Mason. And he's fouled. So Anthony Mason to the line. Right here, let's go to Bob Page.
Second half from Orlando. Chicago Bulls on the break. Pippen to Michael Jordan. Nifty behind the back pass to Grant for 2. The Bulls storm back from a 10-point second quarter deficit. They are winning big.
All right, Bob, that foul was called on Chris Dudley, so he has 3. Sam Bowie picked up an early 3 and went to the bench. The Nets now lead the Knicks by the score of 50-38 with 1:53 remaining first half.
Xavier McDaniel just called a little team meeting at the foul line after Mason got that rebound.
The Nets have led by as many as 15. They now lead by 11. Blaylock guarded by Jackson. Petrovic back. Being watched by Wilkins. Again, they isolate Coleman on Mason. Goes to the fadeaway.
What a package he is to deal with.
15 points for Derrick Coleman. The Nets 52, the Knicks 39. Wilkins with the step. Try to hit Mason on the hop. Back comes Blaylock. And the Knicks now with a 3-on-2. Jackson with the change of pace. Beautiful move by Mark Jackson. The Nets lead it by 11.
Over Derrick Coleman.
Joe Fitch taking a 20-second timeout.
Knicks seem to be flirting with good sequences here, but they can't seem to back it up successively. Jackson holding that ball out, then decides to take on Derrick Coleman. Mark couldn't find a better target.
There is courtside timekeeper Gary Petaway, who will be relocating to Atlanta after 8 years on the Knicks stat crew. So tonight, Gary's finale. We wish him all the best. And there is Fritz Massman, also a farewell. Fritz, the Nets trainer, retiring at the end of this season after 22 years on the Nets bench. That goes back to the ABA days. Fritz has been there from the days at the Island Garden to the glory years with Julius Erving right to the present. We wish Fritz the very best. Mookie Blaylock giving the Nets a 54-41 lead.
Blaylock is playing at a high level. Little fake, got rid of Mark Jackson, and he goes for the jump shot.
Jackson to the hook. Mills with the rebound, pegs it down. Here's Blaylock. And the Nets now lead at 56-41, 18 for Blaylock.
Blaylock is so smooth. He lured Gerald Wilkins into a stationary position, and he floated right up.
It is now an angry crowd here at the Garden. The Knicks are hearing the boos. It has been a lackluster first half for the Knicks. Ewing is hacked and will go to the line with 9 seconds remaining in the half.
Yes, the Knicks have been unable to put anything together on the offensive end. They haven't looked sharp at all. And on the defensive end, if you ask the Nets if they're having any problems getting their shots up, they'd say nope.
Ewing is 4 for 4 from the line. He comes off a 37-point game in the loss to the Lakers here on Tuesday, but missed 2 critical free throws down the stretch. And get a whistle from Bill Oakes. Apparently someone stepped in. Lane violation on the Knicks. So the ball goes to the Nets. Dick McGuire with number 15 about to be retired at halftime. That's coming up. Bob Hayes will be at the MSG Sports Desk. There's Wilkins racing the clock, and he drew the foul.
Well, the problems the Knicks have had in the first half is Mookie Blaylock, as he has broken them down, either shot the ball or got the ball to open people. I think that might be one of the things that Pat Riley will be concerned about at halftime and getting his team to get ready for the second half.
Foul committed by Derrick Coleman, so Gerald Wilkins on the line with no time remaining in the half. Gerald now 2 out of 3 from the line. Always difficult to shoot the free throws with no one around. But Gerald hits on both. So at halftime, it has been all Nets. They led by as many as 15. And they have the big lead right here. Coming up, our halftime ceremonies on Dick McGuire night at Madison Square Garden.
Marks a historic occasion for the Knickerbockers as the uniform number of yet another Knick great, the legendary Dick McGuire, will be raised to the Garden rafters. And now, here is your master of ceremonies for tonight's festivities, celebrating his 25th anniversary as voice of the Knicks from MSG Network and NBC Sports, Marv Albert.
Thank you very much. And tonight, we honor Dick McGuire, a native New Yorker who has literally done it all for the Knicks for 35 years as one of the outstanding playmakers in the game's history, then as a coach and as a scout, and now as director of scouting. For parts of 6 decades, no one is more synonymous with Knicks basketball than Dick McGuire. First off, let's meet some people very special to Dick and to the Knick tradition. Dick's longtime teammate, the beneficiary of many a McGuire pass, newly enshrined in the Basketball Hall of Fame, Harry the Horse Gallatin. A trio of vintage Knicks from the 1950s, fellow New Yorkers Fuzzy Levain, Buddy Ackerman, and Ray Lump. And a very special guest tonight from LaSalle Academy. Here's Dick's high school coach, Jim McDermott. One of Dick's closest friends and his compatriot on the scouting trail, Detroit Pistons executive Will Robinson. Now, this man may be a stranger to the basketball court, but he's certainly no stranger to the Garden. Representing the New York Rangers, his number also hangs high above the Garden. The Rangers' number 7, Rod Gilbert. Now let's meet some of the Knicks legends whose numbers are already enshrined in Garden immortality. First, the quintessential power forward whose acquisition helped pave the way for 2 world championships, Hall of Famer number 22, Dave DeBusschere. The man who gave us the fallback baby jumper. He had a superb career with the Knicks, number 12, Dick Barnett. The all-time leading scorer in Knicks history and the floor general of both championship teams, number 10, Walt Clyde Frazier. The other half of the Knicks Hall of Fame backcourt, the master of the spin move, one of the game's most exciting performers, the Pearl number 15, Earl Monroe. The heart of the Knicks championship teams of the 70s. He had a terrific 10-year NBA career, all with the Knicks. The captain, also a Hall of Famer, number 19, now a Nets executive, Willis Reed. Also, it should be mentioned that Red Holzman and Bill Bradley send their very best wishes, but unfortunately could not be with us tonight. Now let's meet the family of tonight's honoree. First, here are Dick's 3 sons, Richard Jr., Michael and Scott, and his daughter, Leslie Dwyer. His brother, John McGuire, and Dick's lovely wife, Terry. And now, tonight's honored guest, a product of the New York City playgrounds, who has personified the Knicks for more than 40 years. One of the game's spectacular assist men. Here is number 15, Dick McGuire. Two individuals who are very close to Dick could not be with us tonight, but both have sent their greetings via videotape. First, Dick's contemporary as an NBA backcourt whiz of the 1950s from the Boston Celtics, Hall of Famer Bob Cousy.
Hi to all our friends in New York. I'm extremely pleased to have the opportunity to help retire the number of someone who not only is older than I am, but who used to be my role model. And believe it or not, Richard, you fully deserve to be that. Richard was the prototype point guard before, frankly, any of us knew that's what we were out there. He played the game the way I think you would like to teach your sons and daughters to play the game. He played it competitively. He played it unselfishly, and he's just a beautiful person to boot. Richard, you not only deserve to be hung here in New York, but you more than deserve to be hung in Springfield, Massachusetts, and hopefully they'll wake up to that fact very soon. Missy and I send our love on this occasion. Good luck, pal.
And very well done by Bob. Now, greetings from another former teammate, not only on the Knicks, but on the playgrounds of Brooklyn, recently elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame. Here is Dick's brother, Al McGuire.
Dick, I'm sorry I can't be there, but congratulations. You have always been my hero. And if anyone deserves to have their number retired, it's you. So congratulations. And the somewhere down the line, the Hall of Fame is waiting for you. Thanks for putting passing into basketball many years ago, and then it was relived by Bird and Magic when they put it in 1979. So congratulations on a great day, and I also thank the people at Madison Square Garden for honoring you. So stay in there, Dick. Don't talk too long.
Al McGuire. It has become a tradition to present those Knicks whose numbers have been retired with an original portrait by famed sports artist Leroy Neiman. And who better to present this work of art than the backcourt artist himself, Walt Clyde Frazier. Now, with a gift from the Knicks brass, I'd like to bring on Knicks Club President Dave Checketts, who in an effort to fine-tune Dick's golf game will present him with a new set of golf clubs. Dave? Now, friends of Dick know that he likes to indulge at times in placing an occasional pari-mutuel bet. Appropriately enough, here is former teammate Harry the Horse Gallatin to present Dick with a lifetime pass to Yonkers Raceway so he can visit his four-legged friends. Dick, of course, is held in the highest esteem by the Knicks players and coaches. They know that He loves the sun, the sand, and the golf course. So the New York Knicks will be presenting Dick McGuire with sunglasses for Dick and Terry, symbolizing a first-class vacation to an oasis in the sun. And here is Patrick Ewing to be part of the presentation. Now I'd like to call on Earl Monroe to formally present Dick with his framed uniform number 15, a number they shared in greatness here on the Madison Square Garden court. Earl? And now, to seal this moment in New York Knicks history, here's the captain, Willis Reed.
Thank you very much, Marv. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to watch to my far right as we hereby officially retire number 15 and salute Dickie McGuire as he takes his rightful place among all the other great Knick players of the past and some for the future. No one deserves it more than Dickie McGuire. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I don't have too much to say, but I would like to thank a few people. First, I'd like to thank God for giving me a little talent. Yeah, I would first like to thank God for giving me a little talent. Then I would like to thank my high school coach, Jim McDermott, and my two college coaches, Mr. Joe Lapchick, who's now deceased, and Mr. Frank McGuire, for helping me. And then most of all, I'd like to thank my wife. Who raised my 4 kids while I was out having a good time playing ball. I made a living at it, and it's something I would have did for nothing, believe me. And last but not least, I'd like to thank the New York Knicks for this honor. I know how good these players were, and for me to be put over there with them It's just a great honor, and I'm very proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Dick with one of his record-long dissertations, it should be pointed out. Dick, congratulations, and folks, thanks very much on Dick McGuire night here at Madison Square Garden.
As much as Dick McGuire deserved this moment is as much as he really hated it. He is a reluctant celebrity, and his number will now hang alongside Earl Monroe, who also wore number 15, and with the other Knick greats forever in the roof of Madison Square Garden. Dick McGuire, if you're a new Knick fan or you're a Knick fan not familiar with his efforts, take a few minutes. You'll be surprised at what a special player Dick McGuire was and what an impact he has had on the Knicks for 35 years and counting. Back in a moment.
Quarter. Marv Albert, John Andres, Al Troutwig, Walt Clyde Frazier, Patrick Ewing able to hit, so the Nets now lead 56-46. A very poor first half for the New York Knicks. They shot only 38% on 15 for 39. Here's Blaylock, and he's tripped up. While the Nets at 51% from the floor, led by Mookie Blaylock, who was 23 for 45. McDaniel called for that last foul. And the Nets with the 23-22 edge off the boards. Knicks with the 9 turnovers, Nets with 6.
Those 9 cost the Knicks 16 points. As you see, the Nets enjoying those giveaways by the Knicks. And Mookie Blaylock, with his sensational shooting, also got what he wanted done every time down court. He's a big problem. Mark Jackson just cannot manage to continue to stay in front of him.
Mookie 8 for 12 from the field in the first half. He has 19 points in all. The Nets lead it 57-46. John, would you say Dick McGuire is a man of very, very few words?
As expected, Dick came through.
Xavier McDaniel trims it to a 9-point net lead. Morris backing McDaniel, goes to the hook. Chris Morris with 8 points. He's played well once again.
That was so pretty.
Wilkins rejected as he tried to stuff, and he and Sam Bowie having some words, but I think it was more of the affectionate variety.
Well, Gerald knows Sam can be soft sometimes, but I don't think he'll challenge Sam once again.
Off the steal, Petrovic pulls up for the jump. As I mentioned earlier, one of the best stand-still jumpers in the league. Does not need a screen. And the Nets now lead 61-48. Petrovic has 11.
This pattern continues. The Nets could absolutely blow this game open.
Ewing. Rebounded by McDaniel. Avoiding Coleman, but way off the mark. Did not realize where he was. Reach and foul. That's the second committed by Ewing.
Ewing has to hope that if the Knicks make a serious run, that foul that he just committed doesn't come back to haunt him. That's a waste foul by him.
Petrovic and Blaylock in the backcourt. Coleman, Morris, and Bowie up front. Here's Coleman with the shot clock running down. Rebounded by McDaniel.
Oh, when Coleman goes into that dribbling act, he kills the clock and then ends up taking a very bad shot.
Jackson bottled up. Blaylock with the steal.
What a play by Blaylock.
Mookie Blaylock among the leaders in steals in the NBA, and Petrovic landed in the lap of Pat Riley as he followed through on that jumper. The Nets lead by 15.
When you see the way Petrovic and Blaylock shoot that ball from outside, it puts quite a note of emphasis on the Knick outside shooting, which Xavier McDaniel just contributes to. But what a difference in the shooting ability of the guards on the respective teams.
Nets lead 63-50. Jackson with the steal. Jackson behind the back to Ewing. Well, the Knicks need a spark, and perhaps that will provide it. Although Mark went to the hot dog move, and that's something we've rarely seen from him this season, but these two clubs doing a lot of talking. And the Nets have come out on fire. Derrick Coleman has 17. Another Knick turnover. Bowie. Knicks wanted a traveling violation call. Coleman on a finger roll.
Look where he started and look where he finished. Way in the deep corner it all began for him.
At 67, the Knicks 52. Here's McDaniel. And Blaylock comes away with it. Good play by Xavier. McDaniel following the play to break up the pass. Last touch by Petrovic. The Knicks take a timeout. 7:25 to go.
And the points for the Nets in close. The Knicks 26, not bad, but the percentage is terrible. Knicks had 10 more shots at the basket in close.
Wilkins and Derrick Coleman with a good second effort. The Nets 67, the Knicks 52. So the Nets have matched their biggest lead of the night. 5 minutes gone by in the third. Morris. Jackson for Oakley. And Bowie was fouled. The Knicks collapsing on Bowie. Ewing called for the foul. Ewing with some words for Morris as they make their way down court.
Those aren't happy words either.
And now Bowie comes over. McDaniel with a shove.
Why don't the officials step in?
I don't think they realized what was going on at first. And McDaniel is pushed down by Bowie.
That's unbelievable. Both saw the officials on the floor.
Well, he tried to keep Bowie away and lost his balance. Oakley having some words now with Coleman. This began in very mild fashion with Chris Morris and Patrick Ewing in a heated conversation walking up the court. And Mark Jackson and Derrick Coleman now are having some strong words. Xavier McDaniel was shoved down by Sam Bowie. Now let's see how the officials handle it.
Ewing getting very macho with Morris. He speaks a lot on the court.
It has been called a flagrant foul on Bowie for that shove.
That was Bill Saar responding and pulling Bowie to the floor. Bowie's very cool, though, I must say. He doesn't seem to lose it.
Fourth foul on Bowie, and Bowie and Ewing were not looking to go at each other. Ewing did step between.
Well, it's fun to be macho, but when you look at the scoreboard, it certainly hasn't helped the Knicks, who had intended to own the boards tonight, but at the end of the first half, they're behind by one in the rebounding department.
John, I can't recall a game with as much chatter. Now, not all of it is heated. There's some of it being done in fun along the lines of Chuck Person of Indiana, who likes to get on people's nerves and sometimes is part of the gamesmanship, but we've seen it. Most of it has been angry.
Too much talk, and it also distracts you from what your job is.
The Nets now lead at 67-54, and the Knicks turn it over.
One Knicks player can say, I've played a good game thus far.
Yes, to this point, this one ranks among the worst performances of the season for the Knicks. And we go back to the 90-75 loss to the Nets. Here's Petrovic, and the Nets lead at 69-54. And you'd also have to flash back to the performance against the Lakers at the Forum, where the Knicks scored only 68 points. There have not been many low points this season, but this has the makings of being right there. Here's Jackson, and he's fouled. And Oakley and Bowie continue to go at it. Petrovic also involved. Petrovic called for the foul, did not like the call. That his third.
You would have to be on the floor to understand what all this chatter is about. The Knicks do have a habit, particularly Charles Oakley, after a whistle, to grapple or push. And I don't know if that's what signaled or brought about the reaction by Bowie, but it could have been.
Well, it's tough to tell in a situation like this. There are no good guys or bad guys. I think it all depends on your point of view.
Right.
But these guys have been talking it up right from the opening tip. Nets lead it 69-56. 5.5 remaining in the third. Morris stripped. Jackson with the steal. Ewing with the drop step is fouled, and that is number 5, charged to Bowie. And again, Xavier McDaniel calling for a little clubhouse chat. He's calling the club together. Bowie will sit down. Here's Chris Dudley. And now the crowd is back into it. A very quiet first half. So Bowie, with 5 fouls, has not scored 0 for 4 from the field.
Nets got 6 team-leading rebounds out of Chris Dudley in 16 minutes of play for him in the first half.
Dudley playing with 3 fouls. The Knicks are 19 for 21 from the foul line. And Patrick Ewing has been perfect at the line. He's 7 for 7. He now has 17 points. The Nets lead by 11. We're coming up on 5 minutes remaining in the third. Here's Coleman. Rebound, Ewing. Ewing from way out. And Coleman gets to it. The Nets coming off the victory over the Celtics last night in Hartford. They dropped their previous 4 on the West Coast trip. They come in at 28-35. They are battling for a playoff spot. Shot clock at 3. Down to 1. It's a 24-second violation.
Blaylock not happy about movement that his team didn't provide, so someone could be a target.
The Knicks at 39-24. They've won 4 of the last 5. They come off the tough loss to the Lakers here on Tuesday night. Wilkins from deep. Rebounded by McDaniel. And Jackson says, let's regroup.
Nets are always double-teaming Ewing.
Ewing will go to the line again as Dudley is called for his 4th.
Nets are willing to gamble that the Knicks can hit the outside shots by doubling Ewing, who was forced to give it up. That time the defense didn't collapse quickly enough on Ewing. He was able to get the shot up. But that philosophy is working because the Knicks are not getting any outside shooting.
Patrick Ewing is 8 for 8 from the line. So 4 on Dudley, 5 on Bowie, who is sitting down. 18 for Ewing, comes in averaging just under 24. That's 6th in the NBA. The Knicks are showing some signs here. They've cut it to a 9-point lead. Nets have led by as many as 15 on several occasions. Chant of defense. Petrovic. Crowd looking for a travel.
Or is Oakley banging Coleman?
Blaylock rejected by Ewing. That's 5 blocked shots for Patrick Ewing. And the Nets calling for time.
Well, Patrick came into the picture rather quickly.
So the Nets take a timeout. We'll be right back. 15 points. High man for the Nets. Actually, high men Coleman and Blaylock with 19. But the Knicks turning it with 3.5 to go. In the third, they are now within 9 with the ball. Ewing setting the pick. Jackson and Wilkins at the guards. Ewing, Oakley, McDaniel up front. Here's Ewing. Yes! It is now a 7-point lead, and Dudley is very unhappy on that Ewing follow-through. He took a shot in the upper lip and was looking for an offensive foul.
Well, no question, the Knicks have snapped to it now. The fans are behind them, and they're working harder on defense.
Foul on Wilkins. That is his third.
Gerald trying to put tremendous pressure on Petrovic, who doesn't cough the ball up. Ewing dishes out punishment 2 ways. He puts the ball in the basket and smashes Dudley in the nose on this hoop.
8-0 run by the Knicks. Coleman bottled up by Oakley. Charles played him well. Last touch by Oakley. Petrovic complaining that it was pushed by Wilkins off the inbounds. Shot clock at 10. Dudley with a head fake. And it will be Nick Ball, and Coleman and Oakley with some words as they continue to chat it up.
As you saw, Knicks 10-2 since the flagrant foul call.
Nets lead 69-62. Here's Ewing. Yes. Make it a 5-point Nets lead. Wilkins cutting off Petrovic.
What a scratch Petrovic has on his right shoulder.
And Wilkins called for a block. That is 4 on Gerald Wilkins. John, that's from a mosquito bite.
Right. I don't think it was from last night. It looks kind of fresh. Petrovic under great pressure from Gerald Wilkins. Protecting the ball, though, keeping his body between the ball and the defender. That's the way to do it.
Petrovic is 79% free throw shooter. John Starks replacing Gerald Wilkins. Gerald leads with 9 points, despite the fact that Petrovic is hitting the jumper. Wilkins has played him very tough.
Yes, he has, but Starks is known more as a defender than Gerald is as a defender himself. Starks has a very big job now.
At 71, Knicks 64 as we approach 2 minutes remaining. In the third, McDaniel on a quick release, rebounded by Blaylock. Coleman setting up against Oakley. And as they get involved, we get a whistle. Bill Saar with the call on Oakley. That's 4 on Charles. The Knicks are over the limit, so Derrick Coleman will go to the line.
Bill Saar making an adjustment in what has been a very physical relationship between Oakley and Coleman. He called that foul rather quickly, and that's the kind of thing officials must do to keep the tensions down a bit, because Oakley's been massaging Derrick pretty well.
Coleman is 6 of 8 from the line. He's at 77% free throw shooting. Averaging 18 a game. He now has 21. The Nets 73, the Knicks 64. Minute 50 remaining in the third. Jackson trying to set up a pick and roll. Ewing had it knocked away. And Oakley lost it. He felt he was pushed. Anthony Mason replacing Charles Oakley. Leads with 4 fouls. Has been a very quiet night statistically for Charles. Only 1 field goal, 5 rebounds.
First time Coleman's had 20 points in any of the last 6 games.
Eight on the shot clock. Morris with a wild turnaround. Mason on the rebound. Mason rejected by Dudley, who's a good shot blocker. Blaylock gets down. And the Nets lead at 75-64.
Excellent response by the Nets.
Here's Jackson going all the way. Mark Jackson with an impressive move going end-to-end. 75-66. Nets lead by 9.
Mark certainly turned it around in the second half.
Blaylock. And a foul is called away from the ball. Petrovic hit the deck. Mason called for the foul. Petrovic can't understand why there was not a call on Starks. But the Nets get the call anyway.
What a feeling, Marv. Standing, action is away from you, and all of a sudden you're flying on the floor. And it's like there are 3 officials. Nobody saw that.
So instead, Blaylock to the line. He is 3 for 6 from the foul line. A 73% free throw shooter. Blaylock has gone most of the way. Kenny Anderson has not played this evening. Sat out last night against the Celtics with a pulled groin. Has not received any court time tonight. Mason lost it, and then a foul call. Mason called for the foul, so Coleman will go to the line.
There's Kenny Anderson way at the end of the Nets bench. He is not accustomed to being there. Boy, his ego has certainly been shaken up this year. He's been Mr. Basketball in his life until this season.
The Nets lead by 10. 41 seconds remaining in the third. Jackson. Coleman on the rebound. Launches to Petrovic. And the Nets lead at 78-66.
Well, Petrovic handled that with Starks breathing on him. He's worked it out with his superior size.
Even slow down to try to draw the foul. Here's Starks. Yes. Nets lead 78-68. 9 seconds to go in the third. Coleman can't find anyone and calls for time. 20-second timeout call.
Nets seems to be doing everything well tonight, even withstanding the Knicks' recent surge.
Now they change it to a full timeout, so we'll take a break. Seconds of the third. Petrovic working hard. Offensive foul on Petrovic. That's 4 on Drazen Petrovic. The Knicks get it back, and they will call for a 20-second timeout. Pat Riley wants to map something out with 1 1/10 second remaining in the third quarter, and the Knicks trailing by 10. Well, this program is authorized by Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this event without the express written consent of Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated is prohibited.
Looking at our Toyota matchup between the top forwards, certainly the top forward for the Nets, Derrick Coleman, Charles Oakley, quite a contrast. Coleman is ruling his man 22-2.
Mason's inbound, picked off by Morris. And that's the end of the first quarter. Third quarter. That's what he said, John. Third quarter. 13 straight over the Nets here at the Garden.
Sure, Gerald Henderson was happy he never got any closer to Ray Williams, who was one of the strongest guards ever to play in the NBA.
The Nets 78, Knicks 68 as this fourth quarter gets underway.
It's nice to see Ray again, although I didn't like the extenuating circumstances, Marv.
Nice to see him on video. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, this Ray. He drop around once in a while.
Derrick Coleman is fouled. The high point man of the game, Coleman with 22. Blaylock has 21. Petrovic 19. The Knicks led by Patrick Ewing with 23. The only other Knick in double figures, Xavier McDaniel with 10. Anthony Mason called for the foul to put Coleman at the line. He's 8 for 11 from the foul line.
Yesterday, the Knicks' Fred Kerber got into the mind of Pat Riley a little bit with a very interesting column about how Pat likes this time of year. He cited how the fun really starts now as the playoffs get closer. Very up conversation, and kind of gave you a feeling about how Pat Riley talks to his team to keep them up. And although Pat in the first half tonight had to be suffering a bit, his team didn't answer the call.
And his team trailing now by 12. Greg Anthony is back in and he fires. And that's 80. The Knicks 70. Anthony, 3 field goals, 3 for 5 from the floor, 6 points. Blaylock and Petrovic remain in at the guard positions. Coleman up front, along with Dudley and Morris. Morris misfires. Here comes Starks.
Morris has just decided to take the shot. That's always been a problem with him, shot selection.
Ewing. And the Knicks are with an 8. Patrick Ewing has not been able to be handled by the center combination of Bowie, who is on the bench with 5 fouls, and Dudley, who is playing with 4. Blaylock able to shake loose. And the foul, a loose ball affair on Dudley. 5 on Dudley, and he'll sit down. Now Bowie will report back in. Bill Fitch does have another center on the roster, but has been reluctant to go with Dave Feidel.
Knicks are smart. They'll go right to Ewing again, try and get rid of Sam.
Ewing. And Mason able to get to it.
Oh, what quickness by Mason.
Anthony. 2 minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. Pretty lead from Blaylock. McDaniel called for the foul on Coleman.
The Nets are getting such leadership from Blaylock. What a difference it's making in the game. They are pushing that ball up court with him at the helm, it seems, every time, and they're finding imbalances in the Knicks defense and exploiting it.
The Nets 80 and the Knicks 72.
You talk about the ability to draw fouls. It seems we've been watching Derrick Coleman a lot at the line. He's a big burly guy at 6'10". He moves so well.
Kiki Vandeweghe is back, replacing Xavier McDaniel. Kiki played only 9 minutes in the first half, going 1 for 2 from the field. The Nets lead by 10. Shot clock is down to 7. Ewing. And again, Mason gets to the ball. Starks. John Starks with a pretty move. That's 82. The Knicks 74. All Mason and Bowie eyeing each other. Anthony Mason, a one-time New Jersey Net. 3 minutes gone by. In this fourth quarter, Mason is called for a hold, and that's 5 on Mason.
Well, Mason has been given a big job tonight. Everyone around him that he's been assigned to is taller. So he's resorting to physical play more than ever, it seems, or more than usual, rather.
But the Knicks have not been able to contain Derrick Coleman, who has 26 points. Mason trying to hand check him. Coleman works in. Blaylock gets to it. Mookie Blaylock in his 3rd year out of Oklahoma. Here's Petrovic.
Well, next time you get a good look at Blaylock, I want you to tell me if you agree, and I'm sure you will, that he looks strikingly like Mark McGuire.
Here's Starks. Yes, a 3-pointer for John Starks. In answer to your question, such an incredibly ridiculous comparison. It may be slightly.
Not his knees,
not
his
worth,
face.
Not worth bringing up. Vandeweghe got a piece of it. And Blaylock's pass saved by Morris. And he is called for a travel.
Well, the Nets are being asked to do what they did last night against the Celtics in a game that was fading in the direction of the Celtics. They put together enough strength and won that game. Same thing for them now 24 hours later.
Now, the only resemblance Mookie Blaylock has to Mark McGuire is that they both wore a basketball uniform tonight. I know that's about it. Ewing for the open Vandeweghe. Yes. And the Knicks are within 3. An 11-2 run for the Knicks. So the Nets call for time. Trust me, says Greg Anthony. Now, we've heard that from you at some of our production meetings. Trust me.
Greg making a sales pitch to the team leader.
The Knicks are within 3 off an 11-2 run. Bowie from deep. Sam Bowie hits his first field goal. He missed his previous 4 attempts. The Nets lead 84-79. Bowie is playing with 5 fouls.
Big Sam made a 3-point shot against Seattle a week ago.
Vandeweghe again getting the open shot. Bowie with the box out. Nets have led by as many as 15. So the Knicks have made a run. They're down by 5. Bowie again from outside.
Out of sight. Ewing laying off him. You never would think if you were Patrick Ewing that Sam would take another long jump shot.
That's lead 86-79. Ewing went down as continues his wrestling match with Bowie. Mason. And the Nets lead 86-81.
Nice exchange between the Knicks leading to that field goal by Mason.
For Mason, his first bucket. Oh, Bowie does not like the hand check from Ewing. Here's Bowie out of fadeaway. Rebounded by Mason. And it's picked off by Petrovic. Mason is playing with 5 fouls. .5:45 remaining in the 4th. Blaylock shooting. Vandeweghe for the rebound. The Nets with a 5-point lead. Starks using the pick. Ewing able to convert on the follow. The Nets lead 86-83. Petrovic for 3. Ewing to the board.
First time in the game, the Nets are cold. For a sustained few moments anyway.
Mason off a nice pass from Starks.
Sam Bowie's presence was enough to distract Anthony.
Well, the Knicks have taken the edge off the board that has helped to bring them back here in the 4th quarter. Coleman drawing a double team. Coleman using several options.
Oh, what a shot selection that was.
Nets do get the new 24. Here's Blaylock. Oh, the Nets way off in this fourth quarter. We come up on 4 minutes remaining. The Nets have led all the way. They've led by as many as 15. They opened up with an 8-0 run. They lead it 86-83. Ewing, yes! The lead is down to 1. And Bill Fitch, very concerned, is calling for time.
Center, third quarter off a miss by Michael Adams. The Lakers' Chucky Brown comes out to Byron Scott. His tomahawk jam gives LA a 4-point lead. Lakers had trailed at halftime but beat the Bullets 92-89.
Well, the Knicks with 3 timeouts remaining. The Nets have 2 and a 20. Nets 86 and the Knicks 85. Down to 3 minutes. 40 seconds remaining in the fourth. The Nets 2 for 12 from the field here in the fourth quarter. Bowie lost it. Ewing, who had fallen down, getting ahead of the field, feeding Starks. And the Knicks lead for the first time tonight.
The Knicks have lifted it up defensively. The Nets are missing, and the door has been wide open for the Knicks, and they just walked through it.
The Knicks in the midst of a 21-6 run. Shot clock at 5. Here's Blaylock. Ewing on the back tap. Knicks on the run. Starks from Mason. Knicks want a goaltend. Do not get the call, but they get possession. .245 remaining in the fourth. Knicks have a 1-point lead. Ewing on a fadeaway. Rebound Mason. What a move, one-handed, and then able to get it outside.
He has made several recoveries off the offensive boards.
Here's Ewing, blocked by Bowie, and Coleman gets to it. Sam Bowie with his third rejection. So the Knicks have taken over in the fourth quarter. Started to show signs in the third following the poor play in the first half. Petrovic for 3. Petrovic hitting on his second three-pointer. As we mentioned earlier, he is the number 2 three-point shooter in the NBA, and he's given the Nets an 89-87 lead.
Which is brought to you by New York Telephone Regional Calling Area, which is bigger than you think, Marv. Anyway, the information here says that the Knicks are doing a big job off the bench, led by John Starks, 11 points. The Nets 0 in the second half from the bench. Greg Anthony brought the Knicks some happy moments. That nice pass to Ewing. Patrick used the backboard, and they continued their happiness at the other end of the court.
And the Knicks are getting strong play from the point guard position. Mark Jackson instrumental in the early portion of the Knicks comeback, and Anthony with 6 assists, and then Petrovic from downtown, and a bit of a celebration.
Well, I guess Greg Anthony made a believer out of Patrick Ewing moments ago. Anthony said, "Believe me, Patrick," and he must now.
The Nets lead at 89-87. Starks rebounded by Bowie. A minute 45 remaining in the fourth quarter. Blaylock played by Anthony. Starks on Petrovic.
Well, they're both listed at 6'5", Starks and Petrovic, but Petrovic sure looks taller.
Shot clock at 1. Morris for 3. And Mason gets to it. 11 rebounds for Anthony Mason. The Knicks trailing by 2. Ewing getting position, and he is wrapped by Bowie, who is fouled out. But now a test for Patrick Ewing. 9 for 9 from the line, but he has struggled down the stretch at the foul line, and he'll shoot a couple.
Patrick with great position, and he gets the ball immediately during the contact from Sam Bowie.
So Bowie is fouled out. Chris Dudley has come on. Dudley playing with 5. Bowie leaves with only 2 field goals, hit the 2 long shots, and that was it. Now let's see how Ewing handles the pressure here.
Against the Lakers the other night with 58 seconds to go, Patrick was given a task similar to this with 2 at the line.
Well, Peter Finney in the New York Daily News the other day figured out the last 34 games, in the final 5 minutes and at overtime, Ewing has hit only 20 of 35. 57%. Well, this will help the percentage. Conley hits the 2. Game tied at 89. And we are down to 1 minute remaining in the 4th quarter. Ewing perfect at the line tonight, 11 for 11. Here's Coleman on a leaner, and he gets glass, comes up hobbling, but gives the Nets a 2-point lead. Derrick Coleman is limping down court.
There's a lot of pain on his face.
Ewing drawing the double team, spins Dudley, called for travel. A traveling violation, and the Nets get it back. Meanwhile, Derrick Coleman is trying to walk it off, but Bill Fitch calling for a 20-second timeout.
Pat Riley's very unhappy with that last call, pacing the sidelines. Well, last year's Rookie of the Year goes to work against Mason. At 6'10", all Coleman had to do was lean over Mason and hit that shot, which he did, but there was a price to it as he came up limping and giving off a lot of pain. Patrick Ewing so determined. If he saw the replay, there'd be no argument from Patrick. He traveled.
The Nets get it back with 39 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Terry Mills will replace Derrick Coleman. Coleman, the high man, with 28, leading the Nets. Nets with a 91-89 advantage. And we're down to a half minute remaining in the 4th quarter, and there is a travel call on Petrovic. He was shuffling the feet looking for the shot. Now the Knicks take a timeout with 29 seconds to go in the 4th. MSG Sports Deck's half-hour weekend edition for all the local and national sports news and highlights right here on the MSG Network, the best in the game. Rangers in front of St. Louis 5-0 in the 3rd in St. Louis. Bill Fitch, who began the season in very rocky fashion, speculation concerning his future, rumors flying about potential replacements, but what about his business? And he has done an excellent job in bringing the Nets to playoff contention. That's with 2 timeouts remaining. Knicks down to 1. It's Nick Ball as we resume the trailing by 2 points. 29 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Ewing putting the move on Dudley, and he's tied the game at 91.
Significant. Pat Riley's going with Greg Anthony at this moment in the game, because Mark Jackson is usually the man who directs the attack in a moment like this.
Timeout called by the Nets, so they are
available, and he's not because of that twisted foot. He'd be the main man. He'd be the one they can go to. He's the unstoppable force. And I don't know that they necessarily want to go for a jump shot, but if they do, this will be the guy, Drazen Petrovic. He's been impeccable shooting that ball in the last 2 days.
8 for 15, 22 points in all. This is actually the 2nd time tonight that the game has been tied. They were even at 89, now 91. 18 and 6/10 seconds remaining. So they can hold it to the final seconds of the possession. Down at 10. Game tied at 91. Blaylock putting the spin. Picked up on a switch by Starks. There's Blaylock. Rebound Mason. The Knicks try to call for timeout. Pat Riley claiming that they should have gotten the timeout. Let's see if the officials make an adjustment. The buzzer did sound. And apparently there was time on the clock, so the Knicks will get it. And let's see how much time they put back on the clock. The timeout was called. Bill Fitch does not agree. He is now in a discussion with Lee Jones and Bill Oakes and Bill Saar, and they have just put 9/10 of a second on the clock. We'll be right back. Certainly time to get the shot off. Here's Mason, who is a good passer. Ewing couldn't get it off. It was deflected, and time ran out. So we go to overtime. The Knicks and the Nets are tied at 91, and for the 6th time this season, the Knicks go to an overtime game. In overtime games.
I'm back, Mark.
Back with us. What a relief that is. It'll be Chris Dudley, who's playing with 5 fouls on the opening tip against Patrick Ewing. Ewing with 33 points and 15 rebounds. The Knicks now with a 3-guard alignment. Starts with Wilkins and Anthony. So Gerald Wilkins has come on. Mills able to get to it.
Starks trying to throw a lead pass to Anthony Mason, who had Dudley on him. Strange decision.
Blaylock working on Anthony. Petrovic guarded by Starks. Wilkins playing Morris. Morris to the hook through an air ball. And Starks wrestles it free. Picked off by Petrovic. Rebounded by Petrovic, lost it. Starks has a 4-on-1. It was knocked away from behind by Morris. So Starks on 2 straight sequences lost the ball. An adventurous opening minute of overtime at both ends. Shot clock at 3. Morris. Consecutive air balls by Chris Morris.
Boy, he has sunk to the depths of his offensive game.
He's shown a nice repertoire. His first one was a fling. This one was a straightaway shot. Here's Starks. And Morris gets to it.
Morris left his offensive game in Hartford last night. He had an excellent game against the Celtics.
Also played well defensively. Tonight only 4 out of 15. Blaylock squeezing through. Crowd wanted a discontinue. Shot clock at 4. Blaylock. 2 minutes gone by in overtime. Neither club has scored.
Obviously, Derrick Coleman is hurt to the point of not being able to play. I mean, they miss him badly. They have no one to really go to now.
Came up hobbling late in the 4th quarter. Ewing. Mason trying to knock it away. Dudley gets to it. Both Dudley and Mason playing with 5 fouls. We're tied at 91. 2:40 to go in overtime. Here's Morris. Rejected by Ewing. Chris Morris is having a delightful overtime session. Neither club has scored in OT. Now Ewing guarded by Mills. Shot clock at 4. Anthony. Anthony hit the deck. And back comes Petrovic. Going behind the back on Starks. Rebound Mason. And now 2 minutes to go in overtime, and the Knicks call for time.
Pat Riley's going to pass out some better decision pills by the backcourt.
At 91, the Nets 0 for 7 in overtime. The Knicks 0 for 3. Neither club has scored. Anthony now being played by Tate George.
Ewing's got to be the man. Perry Mills is guarding him.
Whoa, nice Little swan dive by Patrick Ewing. We give him a 9-6. Very nicely done.
Patrick on the move across the hoop. A lot of contact. He's tripped. Very pretty. Nice. You know, I think we're going to see that a lot in the future.
Yes. Such creativity.
I think Patrick will enjoy seeing that as well.
It is a non-shooting foul. So the Knicks get the new 24. Game tied at 91. A minute 40 to go in overtime. Again, the setup for Ewing. A dunk under on Mills, and he's rejected. Foul call. Again on the Nets. It's on Morris, so the Nets are now over the limit for the overtime.
Beautiful move by Ewing, getting free, but nice help by the Nets' other bigger people to come in and deny Patrick Ewing.
So Greg Anthony to the line for the first time tonight. And the Knicks lead by 1. Anthony, a 73% free throw shooter.
Greg Anthony getting a lot of confidence from Coach Pat Riley tonight. He has played the last several minutes.
Knicks 92, the Nets 91. Tate George handling against Greg Anthony. Patrick Ewing is out with Terry Mills. Here's Morris to the scoop. Oh, big bucket by Chris Morris, who has not been hitting, but he's given the Nets a 1-point lead. Down to 1 minute to go in this 5-minute overtime. Starks. Oh, he's been way off. He was looking for a foul, but John Starks now 5 for 12 from the field. 40 seconds to go in the overtime. And we get the whistle away from the ball as Petrovic hit the floor. A hold on Starks.
I think John Starks is going to run and hide in a hole if the Knicks don't win this one. He has been part of a lot of poor plays for the Knicks.
It's a non-shooting foul. The next foul would put the Knicks over the limit. The Nets by 1. 35 seconds remaining in overtime. Shot clock now at 15. Shot clock at 10. There's George. Oh, he hit over Ewing. And a timeout is called by the Knicks. The Nets lead it 95-92 with 20 seconds remaining in overtime. Against Clemson, lifting UConn over Clemson 2 years ago, and he just hit one over Patrick Ewing to give the Nets a 3-point lead with 20 seconds remaining in overtime.
Well, that was clean, too. He couldn't use the backboard, and that was a huge shot for a player who feels he should be playing more. Looked like he was going elsewhere earlier in the season when Bill Fitch was forced to adjust his roster. But he reminded Bill Fitch that he's a very valuable man to have.
Tate George, a native of Newark, New Jersey, a first-round draft pick last year. In overtime, the Nets have scored 4 points, the Knicks with 1. The Nets lead it by 3. Down to 15. Well, the Knicks go for the 2. Air ball from Ewing. Mason. Mason again. Rejected by Dudley. Mason again. Tipped home by Ewing. 5 seconds to go. It's a 1-point net lead. And the foul is given.
If I'm not mistaken, Anthony Mason lost his pants on that sequence. As he struggled to get up, he lifted them up quickly. He certainly worked hard trying to convert that tip.
Forget the pants and go for the ball, John, as you know.
Ewing with an unusual shot under great pressure. Once Mason goes up, misses. Goes up again, Dudley's all over him. Gives it another shot. Down he goes, and Patrick Ewing showed impeccable timing to knock that one in.
17 rebounds from Mason, a season high. Here's Tate George to the line for the first time. 4 6/10 seconds remaining. The Nets lead by 1. Tate George is an 80% free throw shooter. 58 for 72 on the season. It's 1 of 2. The Knicks take a timeout. They are down by 2 points with 4 6/10 seconds remaining in overtime.
George showing how unhappy he was missing that first one, but at least he protected his team, because it will take a 3-point shot by the Knicks to win the game, and at the least, should the Knicks hit a field goal, it can be a tie.
Have lost 13 straight here at Madison Square Garden. The last time they beat the Knicks here in New York, March of '87. Vandeweghe will throw in, being bothered by George. As Anthony for Ewing, gets the shot off, but the Nets win it. The Nets defeat the Knicks in overtime, 96-94. And the Nets have won 2 in a row. They beat the Celtics in Hartford last night. They are now 29-35, while the Knicks dropped to 39-25, and they have lost 2 straight. Both have been 2-pointers, losing to the Lakers here on Tuesday and losing in overtime to the Nets 96-94. The Evian Nashville Springwater Player of the game is Derrick Coleman of the New Jersey Nets. 28 points on 8 for 13 from the field.
Well, with 4.5 seconds left, the Knicks handle the ball well. Anthony makes a good decision, gets it to Patrick Ewing, who is under pressure, a little bit out of his range for such a shot, and it falls short. Knicks figuring that they couldn't get the ball to Ewing down low, so they went with the jump shot.
So the Knicks are now 4 games in front of the Boston Celtics, while the Nets move within 6 of 500. We'll be right back.